family of 4 can receive up to $5,600 this month. A couple with 1 child is going to get up to $5,000 in the next year from the federal government under this bill. Good morning. Some huge things are happening right now in our country and in our government. By the time this is releasing, I don't know if it will have completely passed the House. While I'm recording it, it's supposed to go to the House today. It's already been passed by the Senate, though. That happened back on Saturday. And that was the big one that they were worried about. It passed with 50 to 49, I believe. I feel like there's a lot of confusion around this topic. I talked to a couple of different people whenever I first heard about even getting the third stimulus payment. I didn't know that that was supposed to be happening right now. But whenever I found out, I wanted to do a little bit of research and I read a little bit online. And then I ran into a dad friend of mine and I asked him if he'd heard about it. And he said that he had, and apparently children are supposed to get up to $3,600. I thought that sounded insane. So I went online and I looked it up because that sounded just crazy. I mean, I was already blown away by the $1,400 per person amount that I heard. And so when I went online, the majority of the things that I found were like the guidelines for how much you can earn to receive that money. And those guidelines are, I'll insert a picture right here actually. And as you can see, it's $75,000 is the most income that you can receive to get the full $1,400. And then it phases out from $75,000 a year to $80,000 a year. And that's for an individual person. I think it's a little bit different for head of household. And then for a couple that filed jointly, the max that they could have received this year is $150,000. Anyway, when I look at things like that, it makes it pretty clear that that's talking about for adults, because obviously children and babies, they don't earn anything. They don't have, whatever. And so I always assume that there's probably a different price for children, especially since the first stimulus check, there was a different amount that a family was receiving for their dependents versus the amount that the adults were getting that filed their taxes that had an income. And so I wanted to do some more research and find out how much a dependent was supposed to receive. And I feel like that wasn't as clearly stated. I did come to find that children dependents are also getting a $1,400 amount. So a family of 4, like I said, is going to get up to $5,600 this month. I'm a family of 4. That's insane. That kind of money for someone who's struggling from this past year, that's going to make a huge difference. Now that we've established that dependents are also going to get the $1,400, some things have changed this time. With the first 2 stimulus checks, a dependent was a child under 16 years of age. This time, however, if they qualify as a dependent, it doesn't matter their age. They are your dependent and you will receive an amount for them. So this includes children that are 17 years and older, which will actually include 13.5 million college students, older adults, and children of all ages with certain disabilities. So good news. If you're a parent and you have children, you have a spouse, you have a family, you have dependents, then you can expect to get a direct deposit within the next few days, probably less than a week. Obviously, there's going to be some changes to that or some delays for certain people because this is the middle of tax season. So they can't really tell us what the exact timeline is going to be. If we're going off of the previous 2 stimulus payments, then once it's signed by the president, which should happen any day, then direct deposits should start hitting bank accounts within 1 to 3 days after that. And then shortly after that, they'll start mailing out the physical checks. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. They're planning that everything will start rolling out at least by March 14th, because that's when the current unemployment benefits are gonna start running out. And that's another big portion of the bill. I'm not really gonna talk about that much right now, just because I'm more talking about what families can expect, which I guess if you're on unemployment, you'd want to know that, but I didn't do all that kind of research. I did all the research that relates to your children, your dependents, and what you can expect over the next year in relation to your kids. So the other thing that really is changing with this bill that we need to talk about is the child tax credit. So if you filed your taxes, you obviously know the child tax credit is the $2,000 amount. You either receive it or if you owe a certain amount of taxes, then that money gets taken off. What I read was that the $2,000 is the amount that you can subtract out of what you owe to bring what you owe lower. And if you're due to receive a tax return, then the amount that you'll receive as part of that child tax credit is $1,400. So that's what I received this year. What is changing now is that they are proposing that that amount goes up to $3,600. If your child is below 6 years of age, so between 0 and 5, then you would receive $3,600 for your child tax credit. And then if your child is between 6 and 17, then you would get $3,000 for that tax credit. And what I read that's really insane that they're changing is that they're gonna make it so that you can receive monthly installments on half of that. Now, those aren't going to start right away. They're not going to start in March. They're not going to start in April. Those will start in July. And between July and December, depending on the age of your child, you'll receive either $250 a month or $300 a month per child. And that's guaranteed income to help with the expenses and everything that goes along with raising children. Their aim with this is to reduce child poverty. They're projecting that this is going to reduce child poverty by 45% and up to 50% among Black families. Before we continue talking about the child tax credit, if you could just like this video, if it's helping you, if you're getting good information from it and it's answering some of the questions that you maybe have. Back to the facts. This bill that is being passed, it establishes this new child tax credit just for the upcoming year. The Democrat Party is hoping that it will become permanent because there are currently like 17 other countries that have this kind of a system in place. Did you know that in Canada, they offer $4,800 every year as their child tax credit? I mean, if you have 2 kids, that's almost 10 grand just to help pay for your children. The aim is to create a safety net for the poor and middle class for when things like COVID happens, when people get laid off from their jobs, when things start all of a sudden going wrong, because sometimes it feels like when one thing goes wrong, another thing is bound to go wrong and it kind of just like spirals. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that. It does happen and it is hard. And so with this safety net in place, with that guaranteed income, it'll make life a lot easier for those struggling families. Another thing that's really cool is they're planning on setting up a portal for the new child tax credit system. And in that portal, families will be able to go in and report changes to income or a new member of the family. Like if you have a child in the middle of the year, you can report that. And my understanding is that you might start immediately receiving more money to help for that child as well, rather than waiting to file your taxes 6 months later and then have it go into effect. I also mentioned earlier that it's going to start in July and go through December. So those $250 or $300 a month payments for those 6 months will cover half of what you'd be owed. So then you would still, at tax time, get almost $2,000 for each child. You can also in the portal opt out. If you don't think that you need those monthly payments, you think it would be more beneficial to your family to get that one lump sum at the end of the year, you can go in there and you can choose the option to have it paid out just at the end of the year. I also saw 2 figures for the projected number of children that this will help. In one place I saw up to 69 million, and on another article I think I read like 83 million. That is a lot of children. That is a lot of families. Now your income level, just like it did with the stimulus package, is going to affect what your new child tax credit is going to look like. What I saw online also, and by the way, I have all of my links for all of the articles that I read are going to be linked down below in the description box. So check those out if you want to, fact check and all that. But the way that your income level plays into this is basically the same as the stimulus. So if you make more than $75,000 a year, you'll still receive the $2,000 that you've been receiving up until this point. I don't know if you'll still be eligible for the monthly payouts or if it's just you default back to the old system. I'm not totally clear on that. I'd have to do some more research. But what I did find is that you'll still get a tax credit just like always, but the increased child tax credit, the increased amount, qualifies to the people that fall under that income level. I also believe that there was a cap at the bottom, like you had to earn at least I think like $2,400 a year to qualify for the tax credit. Before, if you fell below that earning income level, then you didn't qualify for a child tax credit. And what they're doing with this bill also is they are removing that cap at the bottom, or I think it's called an earning floor. That's what it is. So they're removing the earning floor where no matter what you make, you can make $0 in a year and you'll still be eligible to receive that income to help take care of your children. I don't think I have to tell you guys that this will be huge for those low income and those poor families, even middle class. I mean, for me personally, we have food in our tummies and we have a roof over our heads, but that's because we've been blessed by understanding. We have food because we fall under a certain income level and we're able to receive government assisted food stamps. And we have a roof over our head because the church that we belong to owns this house, and they're understanding enough to know that because of everything that's happening in the world, we're going through a period where we can't afford to pay rent for a month, maybe two. I mean, we're gonna catch up, but we're blessed by that understanding, and that's why we have the things that we have. We still definitely fall into that middle low income class, and this money is gonna be huge for us. This money is gonna be huge for so many families. This money here in March, this third stimulus check, it's gonna allow us to catch up on some of our utilities. It's gonna allow us to catch up on our rent. It's gonna provide us with that safety, that life jacket, to be able to learn how to swim again. Because right now it feels like we're sinking, and I know a lot of other families in this country are feeling that as well. And it's kind of hard to get your feet back under you when it feels like you're constantly being pulled under. Something is constantly going wrong. A bill is constantly, you're getting a late notice, and it can get really hard. This stimulus check and this new expanded child tax credit are coming at just the right time for this country. And I hope that it's able to help so many of you and so many families out there. And I hope this video helped you to kind of understand what's to expect from the next few days, from the next month, from the next year, because a lot of good things are coming our way. If you enjoyed this video and you found the information in it helpful, then please go ahead and subscribe. I do lots of videos for parents and families. They say it takes a village, and so we need to help each other. We need to support each other, and so I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that if any of you have any more information on any of this, please comment it down below so that someone else can find that information as well, and maybe just have a better understanding of what is to come, what changes are coming, and stuff like that. So comment, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and thanks for watching. What was I saying? I'm gonna go see Sissy. Can you close the door for me? 10,000 jaw. Are you gonna go see Boba? That's our dog.